This video may be the clearest explanation on how to completely eliminate negative emotions and mental internal friction. If you are blessed with wisdom, it is very likely that you will never suffer from worry, chagrin, anxiety, resentment and other negative emotions for the rest of your life because of this free video. Now please recall, have you often fallen into a negative emotional state of pessimism, anxiety, fear, resentment, chagrin, low self-esteem, lack, and worry recently? If so, then you've already begun to suffer from mental internal friction. Mental internal friction means that your brain is constantly overthinking and overworrying, wasting a lot of mental energy and experience. Without solving any problems or creating any value, long-term mental internal friction will accelerate human aging and induce various chronic diseases, which is extremely harmful. Usually people think that it is someone or something that leads to mental internal friction. If this person changes and this matter is resolved, there won't be mental internal friction anymore. But it's actually useless. Your life journey is still very long, and there will be countless people and things that will cause you to suffer from mental internal friction. The person or thing that causes mental internal friction is not at all a person or thing. Let me explain to you in detail the underlying causes and solutions to mental internal friction. There are two reasons for the proliferation of negative emotions and the inability to stop mental internal friction. The first is that you don't know who you really are, and mistake your brain for yourself. You are completely controlled by your brain. You fully accept, fully agree with, and have no doubts or resistance to what your brain thinks. In fact, the brain is not really you. Who are you really? The real you is your divinity, consciousness, and awareness, which is the Buddha nature that Buddhism lets you pursue, the primordial spirit that Taoism lets you pursue, the sacred heart that Confucianism lets you pursue, and the conscience that Wang Yangming lets you pursue. Their purpose is actually to get you out of the control of your brain and find the real you. The brain is just one of your problem-solving organs. The benefit of the brain is that it can help you remember, store information, direct actions, and handle problems. But at the same time, the disadvantages of the brain are also very obvious. It will run on its own without your control, constantly breed dualistic prejudices, analyze and judge people and things in the past, present or future, lead to the distinguish of honor or disgrace, gains or losses, pros or cons, success or failure, and give rise to bad habits of greed, hatred, ignorance, arrogance and doubt, as well as a lot of negative emotional garbage. If you think your brain is you, you will never be free of the constraints, limitations, and pain it creates in you. Unless you are extremely talented, you are born with the ability not to be counterattacked by your brain. We ordinary people do not have this innate talent. Friends, I have a conclusion. If your brain is not used to learn and grow, if it is not used to engage in the things you love, if it is not used to give and serve others, then it must be running meaninglessly, and it must be causing you mental internal friction and producing spiritual garbage, which will definitely make you suffer. Whether you are troubled by love, troubled by parents, troubled by children, troubled by money, or troubled by career, you can find the reason from the fact that you are controlled by the brain. The brain is not the real you, and why should you worry about judgments, bad habits, and emotions created by an organ? Remember, you can either use your brain correctly or shut it down. But never mistake a brain that is not doing its business for the real you. All troubles and pain are caused by the analysis and judgment of the brain, and you agree with it. When you are at a low point in your mood, you can repeat these 3 sentences over and over again. The first sentence is that the brain is an organ of yours, not the real you. Don't let your life be the slave of an organ. The second sentence is that the world is emptiness, neither good nor bad. Judgments on profit and loss, and negative emotions are just garbage created by the dualistic operating mode of the brain. Don't let yourself live in garbage. The third sentence is that the real you is your divine consciousness. It is an energy and wisdom that far exceeds your brain. It can fill your whole heart with acceptance, compassion, love, tranquility, joy, and vitality. The sixth patriarch of Zen Buddhism could not read a single Chinese character. After he became enlightened, he made such a great statement to express this emotion. What a self-nature, it is self-sufficient. I just can't imagine who can expect it. That is to say, there are all kinds of beautiful things in my own divine consciousness. The second reason for the overflow of negative emotions and the inability to stop mentally is that you cannot control it and let your mind become too attached to the false and unreal forms of the three-dimensional world. You have to know that everything, everyone, and every matter in the outside world is emptiness, fake, impermanent, and unreal. They are just images projected from your inner world. Don't take the fake ones as real, get too involved in them, or be too serious. Some people may find it very confusing. The real world is obviously tangible and real. Why do you say it is fake, emptiness, and unreal? Why do you say that the real world is just an internally projected image? Let's take a look and you'll understand. We have all studied physics and geometry, and we all know that points are shadows cast by lines, lines are shadows cast by surfaces, and surfaces are shadows cast by three-dimensional objects. So who casts the shadow of a three-dimensional object? The answer is your inner world. Have you ever discovered that the real world completely disappears after you fall asleep, and all the worries, pains, and anxieties you have when you are awake are gone? And when you wake up and open your eyes, the real world is projected onto you again, and the mental internal friction begins again. What does this mean? It shows that you have the ability and opportunity to eliminate all negative emotions and mental internal friction. Isn't it? A pen is a pen to you, a toy to a baby, and a teething stick to a dog. An epidemic is projected by some as a disaster and by others as an opportunity for rebirth. Before bread becomes bread, it is wheat. When it rots, it becomes garbage. After being eaten and digested, it is nothing but feces. Those the mind clings to in the external world is called form. I have seen many people saying that they are worried about their parents, their lovers, their children, their money, their work and career. In fact, they are all caused by clinging to forms. The aspects of parents, lovers, children, money, and career are all illusions projected from your heart, as impermanent as shadows. Every person, every object, and every matter has its own script of formation, existence, destruction, emptiness, as well as arising, abiding, changing, and extinction. If your heart sticks to it, you will be led by the shadow, and your inner world will not be peaceful. If you are too obsessed with forms, then you will let external things control your happiness and think that people and things in the external world can make you happy. This is like you holding on to your own hair and trying to lift yourself up into the air. That is impossible. The real logic is that if you make your inner world very clear, perfect, and powerful, you will project the people and things in the external world that make you happy. This is the logic of Buddhism that warns people not to get involved in forms. When you fall into an emotional valley, you can also think of the following 3 sentences repeatedly. The first sentence is that shadows are unreal. As the projection source moves, the shadow will move with it. When the projection source changes, the shadow will also change. The second sentence, what your three-dimensional real world looks like depends on what your inner world is like and how you project it. The third sentence, if you want to have a better life experience, you cannot be trapped by external forms, and you cannot find solutions to problems in external forms. Instead, you must clearly realize that human beings are self-sufficient and do not seek help from external sources. Your inner world and inner engineering play a decisive role. Let me do a summary. There are two ultimate reasons why people are trapped in negative emotions and suffer from mental internal friction. The first one is that one is unable to distinguish between true and false self, and is controlled by the harmful side of the brain, unable to find divinity, consciousness, and origin, and unable to return to the state of knowing the mind and seeing the nature. The second is that you don't understand that the false image of the three-dimensional world is projected by your inner world. Your heart is stuck with the external forms and you are unable to focus on the construction, perfection, and order maintenance of your inner world. I can be 100% sure that no matter what problems you encounter in life, if you apply the above two reasons, you will immediately wake up from the state of being too deep into the life drama, suddenly realize it, and even you will laugh endlessly. It turns out that all the troubles and pains in this world are caused by overreacting to something that is insignificant. It's just that we ourselves are temporarily confused in this game. All things contrived are like dreams, illusion, bubble, shadow, and as dewdrop or lightning, which should be regarded as such. It must be emphasized that my video can help you see the truth, but it does not mean to encourage you to avoid the world, be indifferent and pessimistic, or lie down and be decadent. Instead, it allows you to use the perspective of the Creator to see the truth of the game and the world and cover up all interference, no longer running meaninglessly, no longer trapped in negative emotions, no longer wasting your precious time and energy. Use divine consciousness to guide yourself, manage your inner world and inner engineering well, and devote yourself to life more wisely and powerfully, benefit all living beings, realize your own life value, and enhance your life experience. Friends, as long as you are vigilant about yourself and are not manipulated by your brain or confused by external illusions, no one, no thing, no matter will make you less happy, less comfortable, and less joyful. Because you are inherently sufficient, neither increasing nor decreasing, and all people and things outside of you have their own destiny, their own arrangements, and their own time and space routes based on their causes and effects. You don't need to be entangled and troubled at all. After you protect and nurture your heart, all the people and things around you will become better because of you. Thank you very much for watching. If you find it inspiring, please like and subscribe so that more people in a state of ignorance can see the light and make our world a better place.